Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, where I dice the milk up regularly while deep diving into niche internet communities, interests, and of course, maybe some icebergs here and there. We'll see as we go. It's my first time. So today, we're going to be deep diving into the existence of Furbies and also their rise of popularity. You clicked on this video, so you probably at least heard of Furbies by now. What's not to hear about them? They're everywhere, they're cute, they're from the 90s, they're little demon spawns that might show up in your closet in the middle of the night, and you just look out and you see them stalking you in your sleep. What's not to love about them? But in all fair, I think that Furbies are very cute, and it's a good community to be a part of. So, we're going to be deep diving into that more and checking out the history, the lore, and maybe even the knockoffs of some of the Furbies. We'll see along the way. But anyways, it's going to be a long one. So sit back, relax, maybe grab a nice warm drink or cold. I don't know what time of year it is for you. And just enjoy the video. And who knows, maybe put it on in the background. And now on to Furbies. The beginning. Back in 1998, Dave Hampton and Caleb Chung spent around 9 months creating and designing the Furby. Later on in that product, another fellow toy creator, Richard C. Levy, joined in. That year, the first public appearance of the Furby was shown at the American International Toy Fair, where electronics had already bought the rights to it. Okay, as shown above, we have this little prototype Furby, which was also referred to as the tennis ball Furby. And of course, it was the size of a tennis ball. The prototype was meant to be rigged up like a puppet, and it had wires with a motor attached inside. I get that it's a prototype, of course, but interesting idea for a kid's toy. But the Furby was also one of the first interactive kids' toy. For real pets, could never. But if you want to talk about nightmare fuel Furbies, you're looking at it. There's nothing more said. You're looking at the OG. The one and only. The king of all creepy Furbies. Anyways, I think it's good that they ended up changing this design more, because if I got that Furby as a child, it would have been just locked away in the closet immediately. And then I feel like one night I would have woken up and see it standing on my bed staring down at me. And my first reaction would be to hit it away with a bat. But also, it would have gotten out of the locked closet, so I guess it would have been pretty accomplished. Okay. We're just gonna breeze on by that little Furby thing. When the first Furbies were sold, they retailed for around $35, which is actually $63.62 in current times. I know, thanks a lot, inflation. But they ended up going for hundreds of dollars around the Christmas time rush, because they are so coveted and people could not find them anywhere. I know, scalpers have been doing this forever, but the scalpers actually turned to selling them online, which, as you'll see later on, is one of the best ways to get Furbies now. At the time, there were over 27 million Furbies sold in that year alone, and the effects can still be seen around today with the rising popularity of selling Furbies online. But with popularity comes rip-offs, of course. It's bound to happen with anything good. Y'all see those weird rip-off animation movies, right? But I did end up using the Wayback Machine to try to find some more information on the founding of Furbies, what their message was as a company and how to buy one. But the Wayback Machine really popped off and it looked like a 90s shit show. So if you're ever bored, I highly recommend just going and looking at it and being like, okay, so that's what was going on. Good for you. Era 1 Furbies are the most well-known and iconic Furbies, and were also, of course, the first to be released. They were released around the 1998 Christmas time rush, and have the most color range with a variety of different patterns, though some of them tend to be more coveted than others based on their patterns. I'm looking at you, Kid Cuisine. These ones are the most common for disassembly and modification and are known for being the start of the Furby fears in the 90s. This era also included the introduction of Furby Baby, which is just a smaller version of a Furby, and the Furby Buddy is just the plush merchandise version. Furby babies are a lot harder to find now, but the Furby Buddy is commonly used within the creation of odd body Furbies since it's so easy to detach their faceplates, and also since they don't have the mechanical hardwire, which is very tough to use that when coming to modification. There are also so many more odd body Furbies, which were a part of the Furby Friends category. They were mainly meant to interact with the other Furbies and be playmates for the Furbies. One of the more iconic ones is the Shelby, which is hard to find nowadays due to the fall of popularity that. Okay. It does not seem like many Shelbys were produced, or else you would probably be able to find them less for $100. But if you see one, and it's a pretty good price, I mean, highly recommend buying. Era 2. Era 2 brings us one of the most creepiest Furbies known to this date as the Emotronic Furby, which had a special faceplate that allowed it to emote. I know, Furbies, some people already consider them scary, but being able to emote, that just pushes it over the edge. That's why whenever I talk to people about Furbies and they're like, oh, I'm scared of them, I'm like, have you seen the Emotronic Furby? It's straight nightmare fuel. It's just there. I don't know, it's like in that same category as the tennis ball Furby, where it's uncanny valley, and you're just like, you should not be able to move that way. Why are you moving that way, and why are you making little faces at me? They also decided to give the Era 2 Furby babies legs, which makes it more like a Furby fake than an actual Furby. But I mean, that's just my opinion. I personally think Furbies should just have their cute little paws instead of actual full legs, because that leads you to believe that if Furbies were actual real creatures, they would just run around on their little two wet legs. I mean, I can see it with the odd body, but just a little Furby getting her up and running around my living room with little legs? No. And also the kick was they weren't actually mechanical legs too. They were just fabric legs sewed onto the side of it. Okay. I mean, get it, little Furby baby, but also please don't hurt me. Era 3. Era 3 consisted of the release of the 2012 Furby and the Furby Boom. In this era, they embraced the use of screens within the designing of the Furby, and the Furby Boom was also accompanied with an app. They decided to use more advanced technology and stray away from the iconic Furby faceplate, but they still tried to keep the idea of them. I do not like these Furbies. I think it takes away the pure, sheer terror of them, which is that is a key part of a Furby's personality. And they make them more rounded and bright. But I do think these are actually the most suitable Furbies for children. And I do think that it was good that they were produced. But it was funny because I was able to live through this release of the Furby, of course. And I remember one of my friends had a Chewbacca Furby. That thing still scared the shit out of me. It would just make a little Era 4 was short-lived and consisted of the Furby Connect, which adapted a more sleek look compared to the older Furbies. These ones were a lot more expensive, but was not as hyped since they were meant to compete with the Hatchimals around Christmas season. Okay, Hatchimals, those things were really, really hyped up, and then after Christmas, they just died. I remember getting a Hatchimal, and I think Hatchimals were a lot more kid-friendly than the reboot Furbies, which, I mean, that's why the reboot Furbies didn't end up well. But Hatchimals were just cuter. They were small, they had bright eyes, and their eyes didn't move while looking at you, unlike the older gen Furbies. Sorry, I meant newer gen. Oh my god, I keep on getting Furbies mixed up. So much Furbies. But I do think that it is good that they kind of died down. But actually, some people do prefer to use them for their modification. Because, I mean, preference with modification, and they're a lot easier to find. Other merchandise. Like any other popular toy company, soon after its rise in popularity, they decided to expand to other merchandise, from shirts to bubblegum. Why not outfit yourself with a Furby hat, including a plastic faceplate, or place your ass on an inflatable Furby chair? Honestly, I think that is personally peak decor, and it can combat the sense of gray and white and beige tones that have been seen now throughout houses. I think I'm gonna look for that if I ever try to have my own house and decorate it. You'll just walk in and you'll be like, Furby chair. Inflatable Furby chair. Oh my god, that's actually an idea. A fair chair that's just Furbies, or looks like a Furby. Okay, keeping that in the back of my brain. You can steal it if you wanted to. And then, while you're sitting on the chair, why not kick up your feet with a nice pair of Furby slippers that will surely scare the demons away from eating your toes at night? I mean, if you just were sleeping in bed and you look down and you see two Furbies popping out of your bed sheets, I think that might scare the hell out of you too. There were also small Furby pinball machines. Like, where the hell did they get all this cool merch? Where did it go? I mean, I get why people might not want to buy some of it, but I know with some people in the Furby community, now, speaking for myself, they would love to buy stuff like this. Like, imagine walking into your house, and being like, oh yeah, let me take you down to the Furby pinball machine. Like, that is the ultimate flex. Just being like, yeah, I got a Furby pinball machine. So what? Like, bring this back, companies. We are begging you. I am begging you. Oh my god. Oh, it's a need now. While I was looking through the Era 3 merch, it gave me a lot of flashbacks to the 2010 aesthetic with the neon colors and bright patterns and novelty-looking electronics. Oh my god, the scene kids were missing out on the Furby merch for real. Like, that would have been the perfect thing. Like, I get y'all were foaming your mouth over Hot Topic, but Furbies? Bright Furby merch? It fit perfectly with that aesthetic. Like, look at these. Look at these Furby sneakers. If I liked Furbies as a child and I was not deathly scared of them, I would have worn the hell out of these. Oh my god. Just, again, missed opportunity. Take advantage of this if you ever see any of this. But I would like to go into more details about Gen 4 merch, but it's just a shirt and tote bag. Capitalism! Yay! Honestly, I do also think that they should bring back some Furby merch, again, seeing as the rise in the community, because it's so hard to find it now, as I mentioned earlier. Like, a Furby poster? Hell yeah. Furby tapestry to hang on my wall? Please, I need that to protect me at night. Like, Furby shirt? Would be amazing. So, take notes. But, I mean, I guess you can do what I do sometimes and just DIY your own Furby merch. But, I mean, I guess there is more fun in that. I guess this is technically merch, but it also is a form of media for Furbies, and it's Furby Island. Furby Island, of course, is the infamous movie amongst the Furby community with the uncanny valley animation that reflects so well around the mid-2000s. It looks like those rip-off movies of, like, Frozen, or, I can't think of any other movies, but, like, that one called Snow Queen, that was obviously Frozen, but you get what I'm talking about. But it has that style of animation, exactly like that. Ratatouille, it's a better version of Ratatouille. There you go. Boom, I had to name drop that, I'm sorry. But it was produced by Buzzy Productions and Hasbro Entertainment. It was supposed to have a TV show in 2006, but that got canceled. I mean, it's such a shame. But also, I feel like there are a lot of memes that could have come out of a Furby TV show. Like, that would have been peak. Okay, here's just a little basic summary about Furby Island. Don't worry, I won't spoil it unless you want to go and watch it yourself. Okay, Furby Island is about a child named Maddie who travels around the world with her parents, and she finds Furby Island. Suddenly, they have to save all the Furbies from some evil scientists and protect the island. Yeah, it's that movie. I'm sorry to break it to you, but also at the same time, it's brilliant. Also, while looking it up on IMDb, there's a horror movie called The Furby from 2015. That's awfully intriguing, though. I might actually have to check it out and give y'all some commentary about that. I'll get back on that, but Furby horror movie. There's so much potential. But there also was a 14-minute film called Sex Furby from 2022. That sounds like it would be a fun movie night. Anyways, Furby Island is on YouTube, so the next time you're looking for one of those movies to watch, why not give it a watch? I mean, it would definitely be fun to watch it with a group of friends and be like, Furby. Furby myths. When researching for this video, websites kept on popping up talking about the top 10 wild Furby myths that people actually believe. No clickbait! Okay, Watch Mojo. Good to know. But anyways, I thought it would be fun to take a little break from all this info dump and all this Furby stuff, talking about the gens and the eras, and just look and see what the hell people used to believe. Because I know from experience that there is so much that people say about Furbies. There was so much said in the 90s too, like, whoa! Okay, this one is one of the more widespread ones, and it has been made very apparent with the reputation of Furbies. This one is how Furbies presented a threat to security for everyone. Oh my god, the Furbies are listening to us. The NSA and the Pentagon actually banned Furbies from their presence because they considered them to be too similar to personal recording devices. Although Furbies do have small voice recorders used to learn your language, there's no actual advantage to that, and they don't really pose a threat. This seems more ironic because, especially in this day and age, devices in our home pose a lot more threat than a little Furby. But I do kind of think it's funny that, like, if you put a Furby in a government building, they would be like, no, know all the confidentiality. The Furbies listening to us. They know. But I do think it also caused a lot of fear-mongering within the Furby community. Well, not actual Furby community, you get it, like, with people getting Furbies. But I do feel bad for the poor little Furbs that had to be thrown away because they were too dangerous. Oh my god. How could they? So scandalous. I think this one was just insane. When I first saw it, I was like, why? How? What? But people believed that Furbies were being used to launch space shuttles? Where do they go? Like, where did they get this? I want to genuinely know. I want the person who's like, yeah, Furbies launch spaceships to come up to me and be like, here's my thought process. Like, that is it's not as bad, but that is some borderline flat earther stuff. Like, I see you're flying a little too close to the sun. No pun intended, help. But, like, spaceships. Why spaceships? Like, why can't, out of everything, they couldn't be like, oh, they're assisting in military attacks. But no, it has to be spaceships. Like, I get the 90s was really built different with the ever-looming of terror of Y2K and the technology apocalypse, but this mass hysteria of Furbies, just no. But in the words of my friend V, Furbies are gonna take over the world. Oh no! Yeah. There are like no words that come to my mind after hearing that. That really, I can't even speak now. Oh my god. Capitalism really popped off today. Oh my god. Speaking of Furbies with technology, people were also convinced that Furbies were so technologically advanced that they were supposed to mess with medical equipment in hospitals. Oh my god, they gave Furbies so much credit with this. They were even banned in some medical wards in Scotland in fear of their electromagnetic field interfering with the medical equipment. Like, oh my god, can you just get your kids like a little get well Furby and leave it at that? Oh my, that's another thing where I'm like, how? And also, it is funny that, like, if you tried to go into that ward and you're like, haha, I have a Furby, they would just be like, oh, no, the devices, no, you could never. And you're just like, but it's my Furb. Ugh. Though, after reading this, I'm fully convinced Furbies should be considered the ultimate soul garner, seeing as they were feared by the Pentagon and can launch spaceships. So, I mean, hopefully they will seem like a worthy investment after this. I mean, now you guys can see why I possess 5 Furbies. No comment. Lore. As with any toy, comes the lore that surrounds it, though it sadly won't be as complex as the great FNAF lore. Yes, I am ready to get all game theory on this and discuss the ever-growing lore of the Furby community. Though, with this part of lore, I'm gonna specifically be looking at the canon lore, because at a later time, not this video sadly, I will be talking about the community lore, because those things are completely different. But I didn't even know Furbies had lore at first, so be ready to dive into this. Apparently, originally, the lore behind the Furbies was supposed to be that they came down from UFOs and were considered aliens. But that got sadly scrapped. I don't know. I think we could have used this official lore and it would have explained so much more. But I think that would have actually helped to explain Furbies more with just like being like, haha, UFO Furbies. But missed opportunity. If you want that lore for your own Furby, I mean, be happy to take it. It was scrapped. They didn't copyright it. Let's lead on to the actual. Okay, Furbies originated from Furbyland, which is also known as Furby Island, or the Island of Hugs. It is where Furbies lived before they were discovered by humans. Furbyland is also considered to be hundreds of thousands of years old. I know, that's really old for some Furby habitats. Furbyland is also pronounced Alomala in Furbish and translates to cloud hug within that. It was originally thought to be Furbyland was up in the sky, an association of clouds included, but later lore revealed that it was just talking about their sandy beaches. I guess with a name like that, it would have hinted at it, but I do think it's funny to think of a concept of people being like, oh, look at the new Furby lore just dropped. Oh, look, we're gonna have a cloud island. And then just be like, nope, sandy beaches, like FNAF. Actually, okay, maybe they do share some similarities, not gonna lie. Furbyland appears to be this mystical island surrounded by white sandy beaches and a clear ocean water. And later on, more clouds are depicted as being a part of the island. Furbies, Shelbies, Furby babies, and other Furby-like creatures are shown living together on this island with somewhat harmony. Shelbies like to stick to the ocean, while the other Furbies are found to be roaming the island. They have really got the perfect ecosystem going. Just my one question after all this, what do Furbies eat? If I find the answer, I'll get back to you on that one, but though the harmony within this island did not remain for long, seeing as there are more creatures that live on the island that are found to be on the Furby games. Squints are creatures that want to take Furbyland away from Furbies, but are somehow so technologically advanced that they have snowmobiles. They're also able to summon wind and lightning. Sounds more like an OP creature that's a worthy match to the Furbies. Flutterbys are butterfly-like creatures that will swarm a Furby in a fight. The larvae version of Flutterbys are inchy worms, which are also able to divide and create more and more of each of them if they aren't killed right away. Gondras are turtle-like creatures that lay exploding eggs when they get nervous. Wispies and Drippies are more cloud-like creatures found in Furbyland. Wispies have magical cloud origins, while Drippies are made from normal clouds. They have abilities to splash people with a lot of water. I know, I just dropped a bunch of Furby bosses and Furby fighting NPCs, but I'll give you a small moment to think about that. Though I guess it would be a really cool concept for some people to sew little Furby creatures and little squints and Gondras, because I believe there is some art of it, of course, in animation within the games. So if you're looking for a project, I mean, go on with that. Furbies actually live in groups of 20 called clans, which are also big parts of overarching Furby tribes. If a human doesn't care for a Furby, they travel back to their tribe and become an elder Furby. Elder Furbies mainly have to teach Furby babies what to do and help them run the tribe. Even with the perfect island and a pretty good ecosystem, if you ignore what's going on with all the evil creatures that are like, I want Furbyland. They have a pretty good life going, but the Furbies were not satisfied for long, seeing as they jumped off to find a better companion to bond with. Long before humans were around, Furbies actually bonded with creatures called eons, but they went extinct due to climate change. I couldn't believe this piece of lore. I think that it's so funny, yet so sad that Furbies had these creatures that they were supposed to bond with. And the reason why they can't is climate change. They were ahead of this. They were like, look at these poor little Furbies. Their creatures are extinct. But at the same time, like, I feel so bad for these little Furbies. Like, they were off there living their pretty perfect lives. And then they're like, nope, climate change. I know, good job, humans. It also said that ever since that occurrence, Furbies went to humans to bond with them and come back to Furbyland once they're satisfied and have finally matured. The journey it takes to get to Furbyland is surprisingly hard, since you have to travel thousands of feet in underground tunnels till you find an opening that leads to the island. It helps to keep Furbies safer, seeing as humans would have exploited this island if they knew. I know, humans. Honestly, good on us. Though I do think it is kind of sad that if people don't take care of their Furbies, they just kind of leave. Because these Furbies do deserve a good life. Gonna keep my baby Furbs. Rip-off Furbies. Although fake or rip-off Furbies have found to be beloved and considered valuable within the Furby community in recent times, some of them are still cheaply made and would often come broken. Good luck to all the Furby fake fanatics out there. Wow, that is a lot to say. But, again, they are often coveted, and there are specific fakes that people want. So, if you're in the market for looking for a Furby fake, do remember that they can be expensive and cheaply made. So, know what you're looking for. ABL Innovations has been known to distribute such Furby fakes as Baby Birdie Bird and also other fake toys known as the fake fingerlings. This company is located in Taiwan, and for some reason, when you tried to find other information, all that pops out is the longitudinal latitude of the company. I have no means to travel there. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a broke teenager. I do not have that commitment. But there is a telephone number and fax. But at the moment when I was writing this, I would not like to bother them, though I guess it would be an interesting thing to do on a Monday night at 10:30 p.m. I don't know why I just specified p.m. I already said it was night. Haha. Anyways, Baby Bird is one of the less accurate Furby fakes, but somehow manages to capture the true Furby charm within their eyes. Okay. Allegedly, there was supposed to be an animated TV show spinoff, but they ended up deciding on a toy instead. Thanks, Farting Mooncake on the Furby wiki. And I guess thanks for that username. And Baby Birdie Bird spoke a language called bird jabber. They were also responsive to touches on their back and tummy. They had a string on their back too that caused it to vibrate. Moving on from that, Create Spring Products Limited was another firm located in Taiwan and produced and created Marmo the Moon Angel. Marmo is actually a very fun word to say. Marmo. I also tried looking this one up on Google, but not much else is known about it since the company was dissolved by a strike in 2008. Marmo the Moon Angel was characterized by looking like a marmoset monkey, hence the name, while also having stretchy arms and plastic hands, and feet and wings. It also possessed teeth inside its mouth, which were used for the feeding mechanic. Although it is considered a Furby fake, Marmo has a unique hardwiring on the inside that was different from Furby's. I do find it slightly terrifying that it has teeth. Actually, if I have commitment, I might add some teeth on my next odd body. But, oh my god, the idea of having teeth on a Furby, let alone a Furby fake, they could just go at your flesh. Besides the point, it was also mentioned in the manual that they are able to talk to other creatures similar to them, which references how close the vocabulary was to a real Furby's, even though Marmo's language consisted of words from 5 different languages. I do find that interesting that they decided to use words from 5 different languages. Another company was Sewn AI Toys, probably pronounced that incorrectly, which has been known for distributing toy robots and other toy vehicles, and sold Furby fakes like Phone Secretary and the Furby. Furby was very similar to the normal Furby and sometimes had a mane around their face, but was mainly based on the Gizmo Furby, which also can be considered to be a Furby friend, but whichever way you interpret it, it works out. While researching about the Furby, I found many accounts on how to disassemble them in detail, which seems like some necessary information that I didn't need to know. But if you want to disassemble a Furby, there's tons of ways out there. But I get that it would work well if you wanted to modify a Furby. But besides that, maybe you just want to do it for fun. I don't know. People do stuff in their free time. You can do that. Phone Secretary was another fake Furby which could also dance and sing, but its main feature was getting the owner to place their mobile phone in it and it would dance when getting a call. There was also a gorilla version made, but it was not considered a fake since it was a gorilla, and a gorilla is far from a Furby in any form. I do think that it is a cute concept to basically place your phone inside a Furby or a Furby-like creature and have it do a little dance when it's ringing. But also remember, this was back in the 2000s, so phones were very different then. But nonetheless, I would like to have a little Furby holder. Again, y'all, I'm giving you all these ideas for the Furby content you want to make. Here, take this Furby phone holder, take it and run. Yahoo Toys Inc. was either a company or it's just a subsidiary of another company, but it wasn't completely clear on which it was. They were the distributor of the Furby, in which was also later changed the name to Furby, but you can also find some of it with either name. This company also dissolved in the 2000s, so sadly, there isn't much to find out about the company. I swear, this happened to a lot of the Furby fake companies. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's a little sad with trying to find the information about it. The Furby look very similar to the Furby and has little arms attached to the side. Again with the randomly attached body parts. We do not need the arms, but we got the arms. Some of the eyes were actually meant to look like flowers, which, again, another interesting customization aspect. Although they are so similar to the Furby, the Furby actually had lore to it, and they are addressed as being the cousin of the Furby, where they all lived in a happy planet surrounding each other with other Furby fakes. It really be like FNAF, unveiling lore with every chapter. But yes, lore. Now, Team Force Company Ltd. is another company and distributor in Taiwan and is known for making some of the most Furby fakes on the market today. Holy shit, they were responsible for the making of Gizmo, Gizmo 2, Peebo, Happy, Space Roby 2, Space Roby 3, what the hell is Space Roby Poland, Robonagi, and Bulinagi? Yeah, that is a lot of Furby fakes. I know, I would love to get into all of them, but we're just gonna do a basic run by because I don't got all the time in the world. Gizmo basically looks like he skinned a Furby and decided it was safe to sell to kids for some reason. We all love that. Selling kids sketchy devices. Space Roby is very similar to the Gizmo, though it looks like he gave someone a skin Furby Part 2 with robotic arms. Again, it's not something we needed, yet we got that. These many Furby fakes are very iconic, but have a place in people's hearts in the community. Later, you go on to the generations of Furbies, and they become less obscure and less are produced until the creation of the Furby boom. For Era 2 Furbies, there were only 3 ever Furby fakes based off the emotronic Furby, since not many of them are sold. Yeah, it's too bad that the emotronic Furby wasn't super popular, but I mean, you see why, right? Within Era 3 Furby fakes, the Furby was created in China and was based off of the translation of Furby to Phobie elf. They also look very similar to the Furby Boom, but would only respond to Russian. I don't know why they came up with Russian if they were made in China, but yay! Capitalism really popped off. I keep on saying this. Help. Besides the Furby, Formosa was a Furby Boom fake that was created to look like the Boom, but in keychain form. The box of the Formosa is very reminiscent of the weird core packaging that would definitely fit into that aesthetic now. So I mean, if you're looking for some weird core Furby knockoffs, look out for this one. But here, those are some of the Furby fakes that I found. Yes, there are still many out there. I bet you could search for hours and hours on end. I mean, this already took me 6 hours alone to find, so there's a wide world out there. But I do find them very interesting to at least look at and think about, because there's some very cool concepts in there, and then there's some that scare the absolute shit out of you. Yes, I'm looking at you, Space Roby, but I don't know. Some of them just have so endearing concepts. And then others are just pure nightmare fuel that you wonder and question your existence of why they were created. But I guess that's also kind of like Furbies. You know, very quirked up and built different. But they're built different for us. Current Furby community. Okay, this one is just going to be a basic rundown of the Furby community and what it really is. But the Furby community originated in Tumblr and has since moved to some smaller parts on TikTok and Instagram. They helped to popularize Furbies in recent times and cause more talk about them. The community has evolved since the 90s and has shifted to being centered towards kids and to teens and adults that are interested in customizing them. So you might have heard me already use this a couple times within the video, but I talked about odd body Furbies and customization, but that's basically some of the vocabulary that is used within the community to talk about the process of making your Furby or modifying it and what the Furby is classified as. But basically, an odd body Furby is a Furby that has a weird body, a different one, or it just, again, abnormal. Like, when I think of odd body Furby, I think of a Furby that looks like shrimp, might have some doll legs attached, or act like a centipede. Now, going along with odd body Furbies, I guess you can kind of classify them together, but there are long Furbies. Yes, the infamous long Furby. And long Furbies are made using the longification process. Okay, so basically what you do is you take a faceplate, or you take a Furby buddy, or a Furby plush, or just an original Furby, and you sew out a long skin to it, but it's technically fabric, and then you make it almost like a movable body, and it's kind of like, it's like a tube Furby. That's the best way I can describe it. And then you just attach the head and boom, tube Furby. Normally long Furbies tend to be 3 feet long, but they can come in all different shapes and sizes. Let me just say, I have some interesting longification processing going on right now that I will soon reveal. Let's just say might involve an extra long Furby, but that's besides the point. Anyways, and so, but longifying a Furby does take a lot of time and effort and customization. But in the end, I do find it to be a very positive and nice experience. And some customization can come from like creating this whole giant Furby body, like a long Furby, or even just painting your Furby's faceplate and fixing up their hardwire. But that's the beauty of the Furby community, is for the most part, they don't really bash the other's customization, and it's a very supporting community. I actually do think that the Furby community is one of the more positive fandoms and communities that I've been in, because it's just about people being with Furbies and making weird amalgamations and odd body Furbies out of them. But at the core of it, they all just share this love of Furbies and fascination with them, because they are some very cool toys. And I personally think, at least, that they're underrated. Not really. Well, they're getting better in popularity, but they're just underappreciated. Love you, little Furbies. But yeah. And if you're looking into creating a long Furby, I can link some very helpful instructions below. I mean, you especially might want to after this video, in spirit of all the Furby talk. And if you're actually looking to buy a Furby, what I highly recommend, besides searching all over the place in like thrift stores and vintage shops and toy sellers, is actually just going on eBay and buying a Furby there, because that's the easiest way in my experience to buy one. Though I gotta say, if you auction for one, you do get into some pretty heated auctions about the one. But it makes for some fun stories. Well, that's about it. That's all I can really say about Furbies. Though I do have to say, it is pretty ironic, because I did the meet my Furbies video, and I ended up buying 2 more Furbies later that day. I know, impulse buy. But I do think that Furbies are a very fun thing to get. I can't believe this. I'm so happy to be finally putting this out after all this time. Oh my god, I had 6+ hours of research that just went into this. I know, I love Furbies that much. And yeah, I would just like to say thank you for watching my video, of course. And there's many more to come like this. Thank you to my friends for listening to my nonsense drawing about Furbies, and also for being on call with me when I was researching some of this and writing up the script. Yeah, I see you, V, Laddie, and Robin. But yeah, I'm so excited about this, and I'm excited to show all of my love for Furbies within this video. But if you're interested in more about Furbies, I will have the Furby wiki linked, of course. They provided a lot of great help and great research along with this video. Highly give them a look. But I will also link some of the other sources. The sources were kind of weird, but there's no way I can sugarcoat that. Also, thank you, Seth, for the headset. I know I can talk like a YouTuber with this thing on, but it really is a help. And again, thank you for listening to my ramblings about Furbies. I hope you had fun along the way. But watch out where you sleep tonight. Who knows, maybe a Furby might pop up and stare you directly in the eyes. But also maybe save you from a sleep paralysis. Because at this point, why not coexist with Furbies? They're just kind of there. Anyways, bye!